What are they hiding from us? What are they hiding from us? I'll tell you the most amazing thing I discovered what they're hiding us from. You guys all ready? Are you ready now? Okay. We have a new king.
This is the key.
Hang on. You might find it shocking.
But the coronavirus actually means we crown him in Latin.
But the truth is there for you to make your own mind up.
We have a new king! I implore you to do your own research and follow your own
White Rabbit.
This whole QAnon movement, the whole revolution was started by an expression that says follow
The White Rabbit.
and the letter that Greg has from Queen Victoria has got the white rabbit on.
It's actually here.
It's actually here.
It's the here, the white here. I have the title Lord Chancellor Arch-Treasurer of the Royal Secret, so it's my decision when to reveal the letter containing the here. And it's time now.
And here it is.
The entire British Empire in a cutout of a here.
On the 28th of May 2020, I came across a man called Greg Hallett, who claimed to be the King of England.
Pope's abdicated, the Queen's abdicated, and I've been named in movies. I've named myself in the documents with these titles.
Joseph Gregory Hallett. I don't know if any of you have become aware of the claims of this man. He makes out that he is the rightful inheritor of the title Christ, and also the direct descendant of Anne Boleyn and Walter Raleigh, which somehow makes him the rightful King of England and the territories and countless other things. So he claims the rightful ownership of basically everything. You, me, the entire world, the Catholic Church, you name it.
And I'm here to show you that some of the claims that Greg makes about Buckingham Palace getting ready for him is not true. My question is, how does it make sense if they're removing crests for Greg that there is still 5 crests on the gates? It makes no sense. They're not boarded up. They are protected by a protective film, and it is not for what Greg says. Greg says they are painting and redecorating the palace. I mean, come on, guys.
Yeah. No one living there. It's just been renovated for me, and let the paint smell go away, so I can just drive through my carriage and wave, and everything's painted, and the palace is all done up.
Greg was backing Marcus's great-great-great-great-grandson, Francisco Manuel, as the rightful heir to the throne, long before claiming this right as his own. Why can you not buy this series of books anywhere online? None of his supporters appear to have read it.
He actually does know how things operate, he does know.
Yeah.
He just chooses now to come out with all this absolute nonsense and add all that to it.
Yeah.
And I have no intention of looking back and spending a few hours or a few days looking over all the stuff. There's just literally no point, because if I did that, that would actually be misleading, because it would be giving people the impression that this is a really important subject which I really had to cross all the T's and dot all the I's.
Yeah.
It's not. This should be dismissed out of hand.
Yeah, it's actually interesting to talk to you from a point of, that you haven't really heard anything since, and you're telling me about the Greg that you knew. His group of people were asking for 2,700 to process documentation for the courts. Thanks for the 2,700. We've spent it on a new server instead, so we're keeping the pay lines open, hoping that people will still keep giving him money. Funnily enough, the new server costs exactly the 2,700 he was asking for.
The two ugly sisters, so I'm going for the throne, and I've got two ugly sisters and an evil mother who are trying to draw me back, sabotage me, do everything they can so I can't get to Buckingham Palace throne room. And she's slow, you know, she was slow. She was, I was in the A stream and she was in the, just above the ones that walk,
the entry level.
the ones that walk like this, you know.
I think we've established why they're having a dig. So if we can move on from there,
please.
Yeah.
The judges in Auckland got so sick of him because he was always taking people to court, always trying to sue people. One of the things he sent to the courts, to the judges, he demanded they pay $650,000 for him to appear in court.
What?
Yeah, he was made bankrupt. He had he'd defamed some guy who was quite well known in New Zealand and in the UK. Yeah, he took him to court and he won $130,000. And I think that's when Greg left the country. Yeah.
Centerpoint, the regular Saturday afternoon meeting. Singles, solo parents, families, predominantly middle class, often university educated.
She was 16, and lived, and he was only about 19 himself. So he moved in with her.
Why don't you tell people, our listeners, how do you know Greg?
And during this period, Greg was at Centerpoint.
So that was like a commune that was later to be found out as some sort of cult, am I right?
Yeah, place of sexual abuse and sexual exploitation.
And he told me about the fact he'd been in this kind of, what did he call it, a commune, he called it. He called it a sex commune. And so he did talk about this cult.
You're talking about Centerpoint.
The guy who started the cult, the commune, Bert Potter, it was his son that Greg had issues with. Probably, actually, when you look back at it now, it's just that power, because he was the son of the cult leader and Greg wanted to be up there. The idea of that whole cult, it seemed to be, from what I got from it, was that sex seemed to be the therapy for everything.
And this guy married Greg's old girlfriend, Kate.
Yeah, but that cult worked. The cult leader was imprisoned for paedophilia. Bert had like a toilet. He had his toilet, and next to his toilet, he had a little kiddie toilet.
Right.
So it was like a grown-up's toilet but smaller.
Okay.
For children. So he could sit on the toilet with children, I suppose. Yeah, there was just a lot of paedophilia going on there. There was a 4-year-old girl went around all the men asking for somebody to sleep with her, to have sex with her, until somebody said yes. And eventually somebody said yes. That was just mind-blowing.
So Greg makes the unsubstantiated claim that Samuel Bellamy was fathered by Stephen Raleigh, who was fathered by an Andrew Raleigh. I can't find any evidence of either man's existence, and Greg has not provided any evidence or research for this as a basis of truth. And I really look forward to Greg responding to this and showing us where this research is. Where's the evidence, Greg? Where is any shred of evidence these two men were not just made up by yourself to create this fake lineage story? Where is your research and evidence that the John Hallett you claim is Maria's father, who did exist on your actual family tree, living different dates, was the father of Maria Goody Hallett? Where is the evidence and research showing that John Hallett and Andrew Goody Hallett are related to you? The officiated research I provided prove they are not. Where is your evidence and research that Maria Goody Hallett and Sam Bellamy even had a surviving child? Where is your evidence and research that Sir Walter Raleigh was mothered by Mary Noble Boleyn? According to actual historians, his parents were Walter Raleigh and Catherine Champernowne. Where is your research and evidence that Mary Noble, mothered apparently by Anne Boleyn, actually existed? And finally, where is your evidence and research that Anne Boleyn actually survived execution and was appointed a legitimate queen?
I'm going to give you a bombshell piece of information. His friend was the actual bloodline to be King John III, his friend was. And the agreement was that he was going to be the crown prince to his friend. And then it turned out 10, 15 years ago that Greg Hallett was getting signs coming to him, and the signs weren't coming to the other guy. So they basically agreed to switch roles. So that Greg assumed the role that he was going to be King John III and the other guy was going to be the Crown Prince. They agreed. And then they fell out. And I knew that information right from the start. But I just thought, I'm going to give you the airtime and see if you actually tell everybody what has happened. And he's chosen at this stage not to do so. If he chooses to tell everybody that, then I think it would do an awful lot of good. Dave Mahoney knows the truth. Lee Dawson knows the truth. Jack Kidd knows the truth. I'm not going to force him to tell the truth.
Charlie Ward has just admitted that he knew that Greg Hallett all along was not the real King of England.
There's a secret society that monitor what goes on in the royal family. They're called Saxe-Coburg Goth.
Saxe-Coburg Gotha. This is yours and Greg Hallett's story.
This royal governing body more or less make all the decisions about which person sits on the head of the throne in various countries throughout Europe. And they selected Greg and said, okay, you're going to represent new times, new age, and basically you have the title Christ.
So you're telling us that a secret society that chooses who's on the throne in most countries in Europe, a Rosicrucian society, a Masonic society, handpicked Greg Hallett. So he's chosen by the same guys that chose all of the other royal families. Think about it, guys.
So Marcus, is it Marcus Manuel? I know him as Manuel.
It's Francisco Manuel. This is your guy's story.
He's kind of dropped me under the bus. I never talked about it because I just didn't think it was important. There's no money involved in this.
Here's some examples. Greg asking for money, or fundraisers set up by yourself, Charlie Ward. Absolutely there's the money involved. We're asking £50,000 for the video hosting for documentary on the Hidden King.
So my last message would be, stop thinking about things.
So my last message would be, use your brain. Absolutely do not stop thinking.
Think about that, guys.
Hang on. Didn't David say to stop thinking?
King's security. That's the guy. He thinks he's the... he says that he's the Kingsman. It's come from the film. Have you seen the film Kingsman? He's looking after members of the co-op food. Looking out for any shoplifters. Oh, so he worked in a...
He was a co-op security guard. Oh my, did he? No way.
Greg was claiming himself to be the king.
Well, it had been going on for quite some time. It wasn't
no surprise.
Yeah. I mean, he was Chancellor before that, so there's always a step up, isn't there, with somebody who's delusional?
Yeah.
You know, and it just more and more grandiose.
That's right.
You know, he's been making up ridiculous stuff for 30 years, so it gives us a good laugh.